Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the final day of Halloween week slash 4 days. I don't really know what I am today. I had the wiggy. I had the wig on from yesterday's, well, just now's Chucky video. And my hair really needs washing and I cannot find my dry shampoo. So I was like, right, I need to find something to do with the wig. So I've just put on pink clown makeup and grabbed my Beetlejuice jacket. It's a mashup, and I've also got a Chucky hair clip in because I thought, well, we'll tie the wig up so then it looks like a little bit different. I tell you what though, Made by Mitchell eyeliners, which one was it? I can't get it out. The little eyeliners, I used the silver one as the staples on my face, and it was incredibly hard to get off. So final day, thank goodness I can actually have a really relaxing day when I get home from work tomorrow and just sleep, which I'm really looking forward to, because I don't think tonight I'm going to finish till about 9 o'clock, which for me, that might not sound late, but for me, I want to be asleep by 9 o'clock. I'm a sleepy gal. But today I'm going to be covering another Halloween case. This is one I wrote last year. No, it must have been the year before, so it's structured terribly. So we're just going to hope that it's okay. I think I'm going to start differently to how I started. No, I'm going to do it how it's structured in the script. It's very different to how I normally do my videos. So I'm going to be starting with the murderer and then going on to the victim and then the actual murder. So that's how we're going to structure it today. I'm not sure about trigger warnings. I'm pretty sure the only one I've got is necrophilia, which is probably the worst trigger warning I could possibly have. So if that's something you don't want to listen to, this is not the case for you. I'm sure I'll see you for something slightly less horrendous soon, but definitely protect yourself if it's not something you want to listen to, which I do not blame you at all. Content warning, as always, strong language. So without further ado, let's get onto the case in a very weird structure. Please let me know if you like the structure. Who knows, you might prefer it. John White. He was born on the 20th of May 1957 and he worked as a pastor at a Christ Community Fellowship in Michigan. He lived on his own in a mobile home, and this was in Broomfield, Remus. My pronunciation's got so much better. Although he was actually engaged to a lady named Sally who lived just a few doors down in her own trailer with her daughter Rebecca. John had a very violent and criminal past, which apparently his church were actually aware of and still hired him. Which you would think that would be like a no-go, although maybe they're into like reforming people, but no. It's unaware if his fiancée Sally and her daughter Rebecca were aware of this. I can't imagine they were, because Rebecca actually had a young son who she had let John babysit for on several occasions, so I don't think she would have been comfortable with that, having known that he had a violent criminal past. Now, John's violent criminal past was against women, and all of his crimes were for seemingly no reason. They all seemed to be very random and very violent. 17-year-old Teresa Morris was one of John's neighbours. John lured Teresa into his basement and stabbed her 15 times and choked her. I mean, there's violent criminal pasts and then there's John. Somehow and amazingly, Teresa actually did survive. And have a guess, just think in your head before I say it, how long you think John got in prison for this. Was it 2 years? Did you guess 2 years? He was charged with assault with intent to murder. If someone had stabbed me 15 times and they served 2 years, that's insane. That's disgusting. You get more for like not having a TV licence, I swear. He was convicted of this in 1981 and his sentence was actually overturned in 1953. 83, which is why he only served 2 years. Teresa later said that she did not think that she was John's first victim, as when she was down in the basement, she was obviously fighting him back quite a lot, and he actually said to her, "Shut up, this isn't my first time, you're making this harder than it has to be." His second victim was 22-year-old Vicky Wall. At the time he met Vicky, they were working together, and John was married and had 2 children with his wife, as well as one on the way. Vicky and John were having an affair, and in the July of 1994, Vicky went missing. The last time Vicky was seen alive, she was seen on CCTV getting into a bearded man's truck and them driving away. And the description of the person and the truck she got into matched John perfectly. John was 37 years old at the time that Vicky disappeared, and later on he went to check himself into a psychiatric unit. And when police questioned him, he said that he might have hurt her during one of his blackouts. When police spoke to his wife, they said that he was a very violent man with multiple personalities. Poor Vicky was found 6 weeks later in September of 1994, and her body was horrendously decomposed as she'd just been left out to the elements. Prosecution said they were actually lucky to convict John on involuntary manslaughter, and he was sentenced between 8 and 15 years. He was, however, initially charged with murder, but he pled guilty in order to receive a lesser, not sentence, well, it would have been sentence as well, a lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter, which came with a lesser sentence. John served just 13 years before being released. He did confess that he strangled Vicky, and he did this in, I think he said in self-defence. Sorry, no, it wasn't in self-defence. It was because Vicky apparently threatened to tell his wife about the affair, so he strangled and killed and dumped Vicky to keep his affair secret from his wife. And in 1995, John's wife divorced him, thank God. Now, I'm not for people getting released, but John just served just 13 years, and he clearly has quite violent tendencies. And he speaks to a prison psychologist whilst he's inside and tells them that he has violent fantasies. He told the psychiatrist that he had violent fantasies of murdering the lawyer and the prosecutor and having sex with their dead bodies. Why would that woman be deemed fit and safe to go back into society? They clearly knew that he was still a danger, because when he was released in 2011, both the lawyer and the prosecutor were warned about what John said. They clearly knew that he was not safe. Right, so that's enough about John. We hate John. So we're going to go on to John's latest victim, which is unfortunately Rebecca Gay. Rebecca was born on March 26, 1988 in Michigan. Rebecca graduated high school in 2007 and went on to study at a cosmetology school. She was a loving and devoted mother to her 3-year-old son Conway, and she had been dating her boyfriend Aaron for around 3 years. The pair had been making plans for weddings and just generally their future together, and Aaron had actually planned to propose to Rebecca on Halloween night. So, Halloween night, 2012, Rebecca was just 24 years old. Rebecca didn't show up to work, and her co-workers knew this was not like her at all, and they immediately got worried and they called for a welfare check to be done on Rebecca. And they can't find her, so police start searching, flyers start getting handed out, and everyone in the surrounding community is being asked about Rebecca and if they've seen her, and just trying to get people to help. Rebecca's mum, who was obviously engaged to Pastor John. So while police were searching, she was confiding in John for comfort and reassurance. So John held a congregation. Is that what it's called? Sorry, I'm not religious. No, he had the whole congregation praying and sending their thoughts to Rebecca and Rebecca's family, and just seeming like he's really doing the right thing. He was begging everyone who went to his church to come forward with any information that might help the investigation. Now, I have no idea how we get here, so I'm going to fill in some gaps in this script and hope that it's right. I believe John had eventually been not caught, but he was being interrogated by police, I'm assuming. And John told police that night that Rebecca went missing, he had drank around 4 or 5 beers and he had been watching necrophilia porn, which, where the fuck do you get that? I don't want to know, but is that just readily available? I mean, I've never personally searched for it, but is that just accessible, easily? Oh. So he was watching necrophilia porn, and he decided that he had to act on his dark urges and fantasies because he's a... Ugh. So he then said that he'd been having fantasies about killing Rebecca and having sex with her dead body for about 2 weeks, which this is like his stepdaughter, basically. Like, he's been engaged to her mum for a while, and so around 2 a.m. he broke into their home and he went into Rebecca's room, where he beat her unconscious with a rubber mallet. He then tied zip cords round her throat and strangled her until she passed away. And all of this was done while her baby son is in the next room. And Rebecca's last words were, "I know who you are." John went on to dispose of Rebecca's body in a nearby ditch and disposed of her personal belongings in a dumpster. So he had a lot of respect for her. He then drove her car to like a supermarket somewhere and tried to make it look like, tried to stage it like she'd been abducted. John then went back to his trailer, and I wrote that he gets Rebecca's son ready for the day, which he might have, but I really don't know. But I've put he woke up Rebecca's son, Conway, got him ready for the day, put on his Halloween costume, and then took him to a location to meet his dad. Why have I wrote this like this? This is all over the place. This is the worst thing I ever wrote. Like, that bit should be up there. That bit that I just made up because it made no sense, I've got the information there. So when John was being spoken to by police and he had confessed to what he had done, he led investigators to Rebecca's body, which is a good thing because there's a lot of people that wouldn't do that, and they do like to make people suffer for as long as possible. So that's one kind of good thing, I guess. He told police that he remembers taking off her clothes and touching her body, although he says that he cannot remember performing any sexual acts to Rebecca, only because he remembers that he couldn't get an erection. Good. Police later did find traces of Rebecca's blood in both her trailer and in John's trailer. Now, I don't understand why it was second-degree murder, but John was charged with second-degree murder, which I thought first-degree murder was if it was premeditated, which he admitted it was. He said he'd been thinking about it for 2 weeks. So I don't understand how that's not premeditated, but he pleads guilty to second-degree murder. Oh my God, this is so bad. He was, I think, I'm going to have to Google it. He was sentenced to 26 years in prison, 56 years in prison. If anyone can tell me what that means, that would be great, because was he sentenced to 26 or 56? 26 sounds more likely. I hope it was 56, but either way, to be fair, it is kind of irrelevant because in 2013, John was found dead in his cell. So, little win. That was terrible, wasn't it? How did I do that so badly? It's almost impressive. So yeah, that is the horrible story of Pastor John White and Rebecca Gay. It's just awful. It's really concerning that you can, like, surely you shouldn't be allowed employment if that is your history. Surely you shouldn't be allowed out of prison if you're admitting that you're having these fantasies. And it's all very concerning, and this has put a real downer on my day, this video. I'm not gonna lie. I desperately need a positive thought. Well, my positive thought right now is that I get to go have a shower, take my wig off, and I don't have to do any more dressing up for videos. I will never resent having to put on some mascara and concealer again, because it's nothing compared to this. I've still got the Chucky costume attached to me, look. Positive thought. I think that is a positive thought. I'm excited to come back and do some normal cases. I do need to look over all the ones that I had previously written, because clearly it's like I've wrote them in fucking code. Like, they just don't, they might have made sense to me 2 years ago, but now they make absolutely no sense. So I'm going to have to go through at some point and sort all of those out. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me for my Halloween week / 4 days. Despite me moaning so much, I have actually really enjoyed it, and I'm proud of myself for actually pretty much sticking to it. If I wasn't ill, I would have stuck to it completely. So I'm very happy with myself for actually doing it. I will do a themed Christmas video and try and do some more themed ones next year when we've got more things coming up, like Valentine's Day and things like that. I've got some Valentine's Day ones actually. Yeah, but if you have any case suggestions for me, please let me know. It makes my life so much easier. I really mean that. Thank you for watching. Make good choices. Don't trust pastors. Don't employ people without doing a, DBS check. Be careful what you look up online. And some kinks and fantasies are best kept buried. Don't get murdered. I'll see you next week. Bye. The Wiggy. Broomfield. No. Sorry, I'm trying to kill a bug. I need to sneeze. Oh my god, stop. I can't open the fucking page. Oh. This is all over the place. This is the worst thing I ever wrote. Like, that bit should be up there. That bit that I just made up because it made no sense. I've got the information there. Performed. Good evening. Is this on? Good evening.